Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Karen Yankovich and I'm here with Krista Martin. And this is Women Supporting Women Live, which I haven't done in a while, but I'm really looking forward to getting back to, which is where I bring my amazing friends to meet you and hopefully get some value. Oh, hang on. LinkedIn is saying that they're having trouble doing this, you guys. So hang on one second. We'll keep trying and let you know it's resolved. Please check LinkedIn. Okay, I'm going to just, you guys, I'm just, winging it here. I'm going to pull up LinkedIn real quick and just make sure this is streaming there. Because if it's not, we want to, we want it to, listen, LinkedIn, that's where we want this to stream, right? So let me see if I can find it streaming to LinkedIn. In the meantime, everybody meet Krista Martin.
That's what I was going to say. How can I distract so not all eyes are staring at Karen as she's figuring out the technology piece?
Oh, we're live. We're live. We're good.
Oh, we're good. Oh, good. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. Everywhere. So anybody that's just joining, the reason that there was that confusion is I got a message from LinkedIn saying you're not live on LinkedIn, and we want to be live on LinkedIn. So rewind. I'm Karen Yankovich. I'm here with Krista Martin. This is Women Supporting Women Live, where I introduce some really smart women in my life to you, because really cool. I feel like if we a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So if we're lifting each other up, we all get to know each other better and to support each other better. So I'm going to let Krista introduce herself. But before she does, Krista and I were chatting about something she's got coming up. And I was just like, let's just do this live so that my audience can hear what you're up to, because I think that they're really going to love this. So I've got just as many questions for Krista today as you do. So Krista, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone?
Oh, thank you. And Karen, I love how we just have our conversations live on this is the easiest way for us to find a time that works out both.
Exactly. If we turn the camera on, we have to be available to each other.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you. And Karen and I, and we'll share about this too, have been friends for, I don't even know how many years. It was many years ago when we met. We were both still
almost working. I think it's almost 10.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And we just get more beautifuler every day. We'll just say that.
We look better now than we did then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm president and founder of Make Your Mark, and I work with coaches to help them create more income, more impact. And really what I'm excited to share today and that Karen and I were messaging about is really leveraging authority marketing to leap from 5 figures to multiple 6 figures in your coaching business in 12 months or less. And so it's really about positioning yourself, and we'll talk more about that. I know, Karen, that's like speaking your love language.
It is, which is why I was like, we need to talk about this live.
Yes, of course. And so, that's really what, it's really cool to see that the growth doesn't have to be slow. It doesn't have to be incremental. And those leaps are absolutely possible. The biggest caveat is unless you say it has to be hard or unless you say it has to be slow, because of course, we find what we look for. And so I like to say my clients are the coolest coaches around, and they would probably all agree with you too if I asked them for their opinions as well. But is that kind of what you were looking for, Karen? Or
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So by the way, I just checked my watch because I got a text message. It was from President Biden. So talk about authority marketing. President Biden just texted me. Pretty sure he wants my money, but anyway, it's pretty cool to get text messages from the president while you're live on wherever you are. So we're live here on my Facebook page and group and on LinkedIn. And so here's the deal. So Krista and I met a few years ago. We were both working in corporate jobs, and we both had side gigs, and we were working to build them up to the point that we could leave. And I kind of did it at the same time. Like, was it almost the same month or it was a very
close
time. Yeah. So it was really, I think what I would say most important, as much as I love you, Krista, I think what was most important is having somebody that was going through what I was going through that understood it. My family and friends thought I was insane. They thought I was crazy, right? And, and maybe I was in some ways, but I don't regret it for a second. And I know a lot of you that listen or that follow both of us are in that same situation. So Krista, I'll tell you what my thought is on authority marketing, and then we'll get into what you think, because I think that's a big part of what I do, right? So in our She's Linked Up family of programs, what we do is we help women, we create women of influence, right? We help women that are in some kind of transition typically really show up in a way that they're worthy of attention, that they're worthy of attention of powerful people. And a lot of times, especially women, we're like, oh, but I just started this coaching business. Like, yeah, you've been doing this for 30 years. Like, you're not a newbie, right? But maybe you don't have a lot of coaching credentials yet, but that doesn't mean you're not really good at this. So I think authority marketing is amazing because it helps you take that leap as an authority and as an influencer while you are kind of building what's getting built around you. And I don't want you to sound, I don't want to make this sound like it's chaotic, because it's not. These are, we had a team meeting today, and we have a new LinkedIn profile writer, and she was like, I cannot believe how amazing the women are in this program. I'm like, I know, right? Like, she's like, I thought that I was not going to love the calls. The calls are amazing. So I'm saying this because these are women that didn't think that they're, like I say, like we throw them into a phone booth and they come out looking like Superwoman, you know, at the end of our program. But tell me, when I say all that, how does that feel to you, Krista?
Yeah, it absolutely resonates. And, you know, what I would say too is we feel like, and I see this all the time, and I feel like you and I, you know, probably went through a version of this as well, is when we start our new business, whether it's coaching, whether it's consulting, you know, anything, we almost have what I call corporate amnesia, where we forget everything that happened in corporate, every awesome thing, every life experience that helps to make us an expert. And we feel like we're starting over at ground zero, but we have, you know, if you're 30, 40, or 50, however old you are at that point, you have 30, 40, 50 years of experience, of expertise, and people forget that. And so it's really looking at, I like to say, looking through the lens of what our ideal client would want to know about us before they said, hey, I want to have a conversation. Do they want to know you have your MBA? Do they want to know you worked in corporate? You know, that gives you tons of credibility. Maybe you were a leader. Maybe you know, did this volunteer work, or maybe, you know, like one of my clients is a relationship coach. And she talks about, like, at first she would hide the fact that she went through a divorce, but then we looked at it and said, actually, that makes you even more the expert. You've been through this. So everybody has that. It's just a matter of being willing to look for it.
Yeah. I think that's amazing. And then I think surrounding yourself with other authorities, other people, like people that maybe you didn't think you were kind of worthy of hanging out with, right? Yes. You are.
Absolutely. And really, to your point, that the rising, I think you said the rising tide, you know, raises all ships, that it is being around, you know, one of the things I say is a core thing to fast growth or just sustainable growth is looking at, I think Jim Rohn is the one who says, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. Mm-hmm. And just doing that self-assessment and looking at, you know, 4-legged family members don't count as a person you hang out with, even if you hang out with them a lot. But are the people around you elevating you, challenging you, telling you, of course you can do this, because look, I've done it? Or are they saying, you know, like Karen, you shared at the beginning of your journey, which I had a lot of people too. Even now, people, they're like, you do what on purpose? Isn't it like you don't have a plan? Or, I mean,
right. How do you have health benefits? What's your pension?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But, you know, and to that point too, Karen, it was so cool the other day. One of my friends said, you know, we're really trying to make more money, but we're just not making money very quickly in our career. And it made me realize just how awesome it is to run your own business when you can say, I want to build a new wing to my house. Right. So I need to bring in this money. Okay, I get to create it. So I know that's a little side note.
It's true because and I know that I learned this from you. So that's how I know you believe in this. Like, so many people look at, okay, I'm just starting my coaching. So let me see, what can I sell for $100? And you're like, nope, flip it. Like, yeah. Where's the money? Where's the bigger money first? And it's a mindset thing, but it's so important. And it helps you create a business that allows you to do the things you want to do. If you're always scrambling to do things, like, I will tell you a little bit of a story that I'm sure you don't even know, Krista. In fact, how could you? Because it just happened. But, you know, when I started this business, one of the big reasons I wanted to do this was because, you know, when my kids were little, I was working all the time, and my mother-in-law used to take care of my kids a lot, and they really loved that. They loved going to their grandmothers. And I remember thinking, like, you know, my kids are adults, and at some point they're going to have kids, and I want to have time. I want to have the freedom. I don't want to be saying, I have to work. I can't, you know, stay with your kids. Right. So, you know, be careful what you wish for. Like, I have a couple grandkids now, which is so fun. And I have, you know, watched them on and off, but like in the end of April, all of a sudden it was an onslaught. Like, this one's kids didn't have coverage anymore. My daughter just went back to work and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I went from literally from pandemic, being in my desk 7 days a week, because what else am I doing, right? To the world opening up, things going on, and 3 days a week in May spending with my grandkids. Okay. So it was what I did all this for, but this is the most important part of this. May was also the biggest revenue month we ever had.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. So I couldn't have done that if I hadn't created the authority for myself. If I was scrambling for those $100 clients, none of this would have happened. None of this would have happened.
And yes, and you're exactly right that when you know, okay, I do a little more of this, I can help people create value in that way, and you're confident about the value you deliver, how you support your clients, and even laser focus on who your people are versus claiming everybody.
Yes.
You know, and we all want to feel claimed too as the consumer. You know, I want someone to say I work with, you know, and describe me versus, oh, I work with, you know, anybody, just because that makes me feel important. But absolutely, you know, I think we subscribe to that incremental mindset, and that it has to be slow, and I have to go from 0 to 1,000. Then the next year I can make 10,000, and it's like, screw that. Who has time for that? And let's look at where you want to be. You know, my business coach taught me this very early on when I was trying to leave corporate, and I was going to sell these programs that were $297, and I just pictured myself on the beach, you know, with a Mai Tai and like money, just like my phone
on your phone all day long.
Yeah, it's like money. You know, and I'm just on the beach with my family, and then I looked at, okay, how big of an audience do I need? How big of, you know, how many do I need to sell? How many webinars? I was like, oh my gosh, you know, at that time I had a very small email list and that stuff, and I realized, okay, let's flip the script. Instead of trying to sell a bunch of $297 things, what if, you know, I think at that time one of my coaching packages was $3,000 and one was $5,000, and my goal was at least a 5-figure month each month. And I said, 2 people to say yes to the $5,000 program. And it's, you know, and now I was like, well, I got to bump it up to $5,500 so I cover taxes and fees, you know, to figure that out. But it's all of a sudden it becomes easy when we say, oh, I just need 2 people to say yes. That means 4 sales conversations. And then you get to do the work instead of just, you know, me sitting on a beach where people are buying things that they're probably just saving on their hard drive and not taking action on. But
exactly. That's exactly right, Krista. Honestly, that's exactly one of the reasons why we made the changes we made to our She's Linked Up program. Was when we first started selling it, it was less expensive and people weren't doing it. And they weren't saying, I didn't like it, Karen. They were saying, oh, I haven't even had time to look at it yet. You know, like so I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Because I'm not really interested in that. Like I love making sales, but I want people to actually have results.
Yeah.
So we started adding things that created accountability and adding some done for you, which of course continue to increase the investment. And now everybody's doing it, right? So it's not like just charge more money, right?
No.
Right. So talk a little bit about your process, because this is really what we wanted you to talk about here today.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And really, you know this is what you had mentioned earlier too, is we're hosting an event later in June, a 3-day virtual event called 6-Figure Impact Live. And we are going to be teaching the impact method, which of course, each letter stands for, you know, an important element of the impact method. But essentially what it is authority marketing, where we are taking, you know, the timeless business principles that, you know, have been around since cavemen, because I'm sure they were doing business just, you know, as we are too, but then also really looks at what's working today versus what's not working. And so, you know, really looking at like coaching programs, for example, you know, like the old school version of it would be that it's built and it's priced based on what you put into it. But instead, what I want to invite you to think about is, let's step into the new school model and look at the value, the transformation that comes out of it. You know, it's so looking at it through a different lens, and also looking at it through, and this, my clients would tell you this too. We've been doing this like on hyperdrive recently, but we've been really soliciting feedback very much with our clients. And so we've been innovating, and that's actually what the I is in the impact method. But it's like always evolving, always innovating, and never standing still or assuming that, oh, this worked 6 months ago, it's still working for my clients.
Well, first of all, who even remembers 6 months ago? Like nothing has changed. Yeah. Our lives have not changed as much as they have in the past year, maybe ever, right? So what worked 6 months ago or a year ago very well may not work now.
Absolutely. And to me, we are not doing our job as service providers if we are not always looking for, what is the gap? How can I help my clients go faster? We're pretty much obsessed with that. And we're always talking about, okay, what could we do what do we take back? You know, are we making them feel overloaded? Or, you know, so we're always tweaking, and sometimes it's not even a tweak. Sometimes it's a ditch that whole thing and let's redo it this way. completely restructuring the Six Figure Impact Academy this year based on feedback. And then it's allowing us to grow and get clients faster, better results, which is so much fun and really the purpose that we're in it. Yeah. And, you know, Karen, I heard somebody share the other day that there's a marketing guru that's been in the space for a very long time. And this person did a survey of their clientele and, you know, to see how many were getting results in the program. And it came back like 15 to 20% of the people were actually getting results. And guess what that person did to their programs? And I'm not even saying he or she, because I don't want to give any like inclination, did nothing. And that made me feel ill for like a week, that to ever get that feedback and then not say, what can I do different, better to help and improve? Because and I know you feel the same way too.
I do. That's why I made the changes to my program. And, you know, for those of you that are listening, first of all, drop your questions in. So we're happy to answer your questions. Yes. But for those of you that are listening, you know, I think, and I want to hear how you take people through the process, Krista. But what I say to people that come to me with like, well, you know, I have this 6-month program and it does that, and there's nothing wrong with 6 months programs. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the people that work with me are smart, busy, successful women. And they're like, so you're telling me in 6 months, maybe this will be working? Like, they're like, what do you got for 3 weeks, right? Like, what do you got for a month?
Yesterday.
I need more money for that. So it's not less money because it's a shorter time period. It's actually a bigger investment for a shorter time period because you're going to work more intensely with them and they're going to get results faster. And they're willing to invest a lot more in that than something that's going to take them a year to achieve. Right?
Absolutely. Yes, 200%. And I know for me too, if someone said I could help you, you know, I've been working on getting to the gym better. And if someone said that I could help you achieve your goals and now I'll probably have someone say, hey, I can, you know, do this magic thing.
This magic pill, right?
Yes. But if they were, you know, it was less time required of me, that is worth its weight in gold.
If somebody has a magic pill that for $10,000, I'm in. I will give you a credit card. A magic pill for $10,000 that, you know, immediately
keeps me slim and and everything healthy.
I'll have your check, right? Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't? Especially if you have testimonials and case studies and things like that to substantiate it.
Yes. And, you know, it's amazing too, because sometimes I'll offer throughout the year, just kind of when I'm like, I need some energy injection. I love doing like VIP days. Mm-hmm. This year we've been innovating with the program so much. I've had plenty of energy in that. But when we do a VIP day, I mean, that's a premium. Yes, it's less time, it's one day, but that person, there's a lot of people who say, I want the plan yesterday. I want my roadmap done. I want to be off to the races. And other people, you know, do say, okay, I want the support along the way. Both of them are great, but just knowing too that people want different things and being able to meet your buyer where they are and what their preference is too is really valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I'm going to just inject one thing here that we do, because a lot of times I can hear some people saying this because I've heard them say it to me. Yeah, but Karen, I've only been a coach for a year. I don't have a lot of great testimonials yet. That doesn't mean you're not a great coach. It doesn't mean you're not worth the investment. So what we teach is how to get some publicity to help with the credibility until you have the testimonials, right? So part of authority marketing in our world is, and we have a PR coach in our program now because we want every one of our students to be getting publicity so that they're like, think about like a realtor that is, you know, has a ton of competition, but they have, and I don't care if you're a realtor for 2 weeks, if you're the one that's quoted on NBC, you're going to stand out from every other realtor in your office, right? It gives you that is authority marketing because NBC is not going to quote you if you don't look the part, if you haven't done your job, right? To look worthy of their time and, you know.
Absolutely. And it's being willing to do that and be willing to look for the ways that we can show up too as an authority and position ourselves and pull our past expertise, you know, and I would say, you know, manufacture celebrity in a way too of, hey, I got quoted on NBC, you know, but being willing to share that instead of being the world's best kept secret, which is what most people do.
Yes. So what do you think about this? I have opinions on this, but I want to hear yours.
Okay.
3 weeks versus 6 weeks.
And, you know, I would say based on that, like I'm making a lot of assumptions here, which is marketing 101, what not to do, which is make assumptions. But, you know, so I'm assuming that it's kind of the same content or the same result that would be achieved. And I feel like 3 weeks isn't fast enough. So almost like my thought is maybe lean into a VIP day or something like that, and then potentially have a 6-week program, that's separate, just because you have time to go through the bumps and hurdles with them. And I don't know that it's easy enough to differentiate a 3 versus a 6-week. To me,
that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think 3 to 6 is a big enough difference.
Yeah.
But a VIP day, is impactful. And then you can follow it up with a couple of weeks of, short follow-up calls if you want.
Absolutely. And you don't want to be like competing with yourself. I would have programs where I had a 4-month and a 6-month, and it was like, but then my 4-month actually was competing with my 6-month because people didn't know, they weren't clear enough on why one versus the other.
Right.
And so, yeah, but that's a great question. And, and what I really invite people to look at too is people have the story that I don't have enough content, or I don't have enough to support someone for 6 months. And absolutely you do, so really, and that's a story our ego tells us to keep us small and keep us, you can only do a 2-week program or this or that. But look at how can you, what does your client need after they achieve that first milestone? How do they build, really in the coaching space, we'll talk about their new way of being and showing up. So it's not just a transaction, but it's a transformation. And that's what I found really the difference in the short versus longer term. And that's a way to position yourself as an authority too, is to have, not that we just make up prices that we don't feel in alignment with, but it's having, not being the cheapest coach is.
Well, and you also want to have enough of an investment so that you can over deliver, right? Yeah. And I remember when I first started doing VIP days, I was like, I was like, I like to bring goodie bags and I like to buy them lunch, and, especially when they're in person, right? I like to treat them to fun things and high-end things. And I remember thinking, are they thinking, Karen, stop, I don't need this $20 book. Just charge me $20 less. That was my stupid crap in my head, because it's so not true. It's so not true. I love being spoiled.
Oh,
I love getting goodie bags. Yeah. I love getting fun stuff, right? So make sure there's enough of an investment for that. And, because what you don't want at the end of it is to be going, oh, I'd love to be able to do this, but there's just not enough money left. You want to be able to say, in my case, when I do a VIP day, sometimes I'll identify on the VIP day that maybe there's going to be a greater need for PR. And I'd be like, you know what, let me bring Jen in, who's our PR coach. I have to pay Jen, right? So I have to, that's an additional investment. But if there's enough of an investment in the VIP day, I can over deliver, right? I can over deliver.
And Karen, your best clients and my best clients and anybody watching this best clients are not the people who are going to say, I wish you would have charged me $20 less because I didn't want that book. Yes. That's not our best person, but it's a mindset for sure. And this is a great question too about the VIP day concept. Mm-hmm. This is huge and so fun. I love it because it's like an energy infusion, which you can probably tell we're doing enough things right now. I don't need any additional energy in this moment, but the way we've done it, and Karen, I'll have you share kind of yours too, is really where in that VIP day, we have clear goals that we're going to achieve. I have a framework I call the fast track to clients that I lead them through to get clear on their ideal client, their marketing, and their programs. Mm-hmm. And then we reverse engineer with their 90-day plan at the end of that 90-day or at the end of that session. So they walk away with a 90-day plan. And, but what you want to do is you want to think about how really high level, I'm trying to think how I would explain it, not knowing the type of business you're in is that we'll do, look at where the vision is, look at the obstacles that are preventing them from being there, look at the assets that they have that could help them, come up with an action plan to get there, and then reverse engineer who's responsible, what are the dates, what does that look like to bring it to life? And I'm a planning nerd. I could plan, every day, all day, and it would be wonderful. But it really is getting clear on exactly what the deliverable is at that end of that day that would make them feel good, as well as, you'd feel like, oh my gosh, I over delivered. They have their 90-day plan. They know, this, and this. And I always deliver modules and that kind of stuff with it too. And so Karen, I'd love to hear how you do it.
Here's what I think. I think the higher the price point, the less you have to organize it, because you want to customize it. Right. So it's going to be custom for every person. Yeah. So going into a VIP day with the same structure for every person, you're doing a disservice to them. Right. So career coaching for people. By the way, if I know you, put your name in. So I'm in the comments, because as you can see, you're coming up as Facebook user. Right. So career coaching for people working in life science companies. So here's the thing. I don't think it matters if you're doing career coaching or teaching people how to make balloon figures. Right. It doesn't matter, because you're going to come to that day. Like Krista's goal is at the end of the day, you're going to have a 90-day, a 90-day plan for this. I do something similar, but for me, I need to know what their goal is. Like we do a free call to get really clear. I don't want to spend the first 20 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes of our VIP day figuring out what we're going to do. I want to do that ahead of time. So it's a VIP day. Oh, Lee, it's so good to see you. So it's a VIP day, but there's a call before, there's a couple calls after, right? It's never, to me, in my world, it's not just one day, but it is so it's custom designed for each one. And I know, like, in the morning I want to accomplish this. I will say power pack the morning, because by the afternoon you're fried. It's almost, I always book, like, I typically use like a room like Regis or something, and I typically book like the whole day, but we barely make it past 3:00 half the time.
Yes.
It's exhausting. It's a lot of work. And I remember one time very specifically sitting with somebody, I know exactly who she was, sitting with somebody, and it was like 3:00, and I was like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I feel like I'm not delivering to her. I've got 2 more hours. What am I going to do now? And she was like, this is the best day I ever spent. And I'm sitting there thinking I didn't do enough because it's only 3:00. And she said to me, I am so glad I did this.
Yes.
Right? So don't think you have to do, like, understand the goal is for them to have the transformation they came to you to have.
Yes.
So think about it like this. Like, let's say, I'll just use personal pain point. Let's say you're creating a website, right? And you think it's going to take a week and it takes a year, right? Like, if you said to me, we're going to spend a day together, Karen, I don't care where you are in the world, but we're just going to spend a day together and we're going to bang this out. And by the end of the day, it's going to be done. I'll pay you more money for that. I will pay you more money for that. So that's the kind of mindset you want to have, I think.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that you pointed out asking and getting that buy-in from the beginning, because we do that as well. We're like, what are your 3 things that will make this day be a total win, where you're saying, I'm going to do my happy dance because I got this, this, and this. And then I structure that into the context of the day. And sometimes people say, no, I just want to do this other thing. And we absolutely say, guess what? It's your day. That's a cool thing. When you do the one-on-one VIP days, you can do it that way. Or I saw a question too of, can you do VIP days as a group? And I've absolutely hosted them as a group before, where it's a little bit of a lower individual investment and it's more of a structured day, but each person still has their input and they walk away with their questions too. And it's powerful to see the group come together and create more synergy and more energy and more results, because they're feeding off each other too.
So, by the way, I'm answering some of these with Krista, but most of what I learn about VIP Day, I learned from Krista. So she's saying to me, Karen, what do you think? But I'm telling you what I learned from Krista and then implemented myself, and the feedback that I got from that, because I am not a business coach. Krista is a business coach. She can help you understand exactly what kind of size, what programs to offer, how, what to charge them, and how to structure things like your offerings, like your VIP days. Am I right about that? Is that
yes. Oh, absolutely. I love getting into the weeds and the details and like the nuggets of it. But really it is, I see a couple of questions about
I'm going to throw Max's question up here, which is going to obliterate our faces because it's
okay. Yes. Okay.
So Max, oh my gosh, Max, I love that you're here. So good to be in your energy. I love Max. Max says, I offer a course where I teach people how to be a great podcast guest. I also offer a service where I do the podcast booking and promote for interviews on social media and my email list. I also help people understand what their story is in the power of telling it. And I have done some mentoring to mediate clients on their creative process for business. I'm trying to figure out if I should continue to keep things separate or offer one overall 6-month or 1-year program that encompasses, and that's where it ended, Max. So I will say this, Max, I think a VIP, I don't know how physically you would do it. So Max, the blind blogger, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think that if you can figure out how to do a VIP day, whether it's, and people have flown to me, Max, people will fly to you. You do not have to get on a thing. You just need to, have some kind of arrangement with a local hotel, or like I said, I use Regis, REGUS. Mm-hmm. And then I'm sure they've got accessible facilities. And then spend a day with people and bang out their podcast guesting strategy. I think that's genius.
I think any of those, even getting clear on your story too, and how to tell that and incorporate that into your podcast guesting, all the different elements, they could absolutely be a VIP day for sure. Any of those could be customized. And, and one of the things I see too with this question is, do I keep it all separate or together? And I think that really is based on what's your ideal client's ultimate goal, and then which of these pieces really serve that. And then does it make sense to have, one version that's like, I'll say the whole enchilada, and maybe then you have a enchilada light, that people just wanted the podcast, but or a piece of it too. So it really, I would say it's really based on what your ideal client most wants. Because I've also found too, we put so many things into stuff sometimes thinking they need all this, and they really only wanted the 1% of all the stuff we put in.
Right.
And then we give them everything, and they look like this, and they're overwhelmed, and they don't take any action. So
exactly. And Max, what you could do too, first of all, I'm a bigger fan of 6 months over a year, at least for new clients, because I think it's an easier buy-in. Right, it's an easier sale, but there's some people that might want the full year, and that's cool too. But what you could do is you can say, and I'm going to make these numbers up, it's $1,000 a month, but month one is $4,000, because we're going to do a VIP day on month one, because we're going to do in one day what would have taken us 3 months to do under our old strategy. And now you're going to spend a couple hours with them. And a VIP day is not 8 hours. It's probably 6 hours. It might even be 5 hours, right? So you're going to spend a concentrated amount of time with them up front, really get in their heads, really learn their business. And then you can still do what you do afterwards, but you're jumping into it much more quickly because you've got all the assets done.
Yes. Yeah, you could do it. And what I love, Karen, is you probably just broke people's brains in a good way by saying charge one thing 1 month and the other months differently. It's your business. So you absolutely get to design it. And another way would be too, is that you could say, typically I work with clients for 2 years. I'm making this up here because we do this and then we do that. I mean, we have clients we've worked with. I have one client I've worked with for 6 years now. And it's not that she's a slow learner or anything like that. She's an incredibly fast action taker, but there's always more. And it's that next level, reformulating and redesigning. But so you could even say this is the progression. You could really design it. I think it's 2 questions to sit with, and I'm happy to be your agent. I see that on there, or maybe you're asking Karen.
We'll be co-agents for you, man.
Yeah, we'll be co-agents, and if you send us the pill that makes everything we're healthy and gives you there was something else you were asking for, Karen. But think about how you want to deliver your program and how your clients want what they most want, and then see where that overlaps in the middle and go forth. Because so many times we do everything we think our clients want, or we do what they want, but we hate it. So really think about how do you get energy? What do you love to do? And then lean into that and be as focused. The more focused you are, the faster momentum you create too.
Yeah. So I know you partially answered Julie's question already, Krista, but I'm going to jump in here and just say a little bit. I agree with Krista, and we'll say it's a lot easier to get one client for one VIP day than to get 5 people at a lower price point.
Yeah.
So, it is, once you commit to a group, you're committed to the group. And now you've got to sell, you know what I mean? You've got to fill it. Right. And in my world, I'm over that. I don't really want to do that anymore. Our program is evergreen. We don't have start and stop dates. Everything is, because to me, it's a little bit more, it fills it with ease. So yes, you can definitely do groups. If there's in my world, my advice would be if there's a path to filling a group, that makes sense to you.
Absolutely. I've done one group VIP day, and for a very good reason. And the other ones have all been singular, just because it's so much easier to say, hey, Karen, let's work together. What day? Let's plan it versus coordinating all the pieces.
Absolutely. So Marissa and I are doing a show next week. Marissa, you should check out Krista.
Ooh, yes. We're
doing a show next week. Max wants us to be his agent. So Rebecca's saying, I like the idea of giving a 90-day plan with the VIP day. What was the specific name of that bonus offering? Do we have a name? I mean, you could call it like a jumpstart month or a fast start month. You call it fast track, right?
Yes, I do have, I have a training system, or one of our systems is Fast Track to Clients, and it's modularized. It's a online program. So that is something we give as a bonus when someone does a VIP day. They get that so they can do some pre-work. Then we also do, and we aren't offering this right now, but then we would do 2 weeks of email access and a follow-up call. And most of the time people in that follow-up call are like, okay, I want to actually continue working together because all that stuff we mapped out, I haven't made progress on.
Exactly.
And so it's a great opportunity.
That call is always really like a what happens next call.
Yes. So you always want to build that in too, because people think they're going to get everything done. And then they usually say, okay, great. I need more support or structure or whatever that looks like. And so many good questions here.
Yeah. So I love how you all are getting to make us think about should and should not as it applies to our business models. You know what, Max? I am currently in this past year unlearning a whole lot about running my business. We've learned so many things and, they just don't apply. And I don't know why that is. I don't know. Maybe it's shifted. Maybe things have shifted. Right. But I feel like, to me, what makes sense is what works for me. What makes sense is what works for me. And I have taken, somebody was asking me today about their website and what they should put. If you're listening, I hope I'm not going to share your name, but like, what should I put on my website? I'm like, honestly, whatever works for you. To me, there's no rules about that. And the fact that I thought there was a problem for a lot of years in my business.
Yes.
So really it's what works for you. It's what works for you. Rebecca, I love this question. I'll let you take this one, Krista.
Oh, yay. That is always fun talking about price. So I would say what number makes you slightly squeamish to say is probably the right number for you. And I mean, the most I've done for a VIP day was $10,000 for a VIP day. And I just want you to hear that. And then, like Karen said, someone flew in, they paid for their hotel, they paid, all the stuff. So, and people were glad to do it as a pay in full person. But I would say you want to make it where it's worth it to you, and really to be clear, even on what your value of a day is, to be out of the office, if you want to say that. So make sure you're covering that. And that also calls your client forward too, where it's not something that feels like, oh, I'll kind of think about it on my drive to meet Rebecca for the meeting. But instead it's like, oh, I got to get my pre-work done a week in advance because I want to make sure that I'm overly prepared, and the more dollars on it, not that we're making up arbitrary numbers, but the more energy someone commits and puts forth on their transformation. So
Krista, the first thing that when people join our She's Linked Up program, the first thing that happens is they get a call with me to strategize on what does a big win look like for them? Because when they go through our program, I want to know what are they looking to what would make them say, this is, I got a contract for what I wanted to get a contract for, right? So very often, I mean, not very often, every single time, they come in and I'm like, and they start out by saying, like, I can think of this one conversation where she said, I really wanted this to be $5,000, but I know you're going to tell me it should be $10,000. So let's talk about $10,000. So we talked about $10,000. And then I said to her, what if it was $20,000? And she said, oh my God, well then I could do this, I could do this. I go, and I was like, oh my God, isn't that amazing? Like, cause she happened to be, this was a corporate offer. So she was like, well then I could include their employees and I could do this for their employees and I can give them these assessments. And I was like, holy crap. Like, that sounds like a win-win-win to me. Why would you go after 5,000? So she came into this call thinking it was going to be 5,000. On the other side of it was 20,000, and people are investing in it. People see value in the more the investment, the more they value it. And that doesn't mean you just charge more money. It means you find ways to just deliver more value to them. Right. And that, sometimes it's also about shifting their mindset around how they treat themselves. Right. Like, when you give them gifts at the thing, or maybe, I had, I shouldn't say this because I don't do it every time, but I had one client who flew into me and I sent her a car at the airport to pick her up. But like, she might not have done, she probably would have taken an Uber. I sent her a limo, right? Like there was enough of a budget in it for me to treat her. Right. And it is, but that's what this is. This is an investment in themselves, right? It's an investment in their business and an investment in themselves. So you want to make sure that it is, I can tell you this, Krista, we've recently significantly increased what we're charging for VIP days. I was kicking and screaming. I was the one going, no. But now, and that's what I'm saying. Now I'm like, oh my God, I can include Jen. I can do so many more cool things because we do that now. Right. So
absolutely. And
so Rebecca, I would say, so Krista said, where are you squeamish? And I would say, whatever that number you had in your head was, double it and see where how that feels. But you don't want to be caught short. You don't want to be at you don't want to be a Panera where you're competing for Wi-Fi, right? You want to rent a room or get a hotel or something where you have solid Wi-Fi and, you're supporting them professionally.
Yes, absolutely. I have a funny story. I'll tell you if we have time, because I know we could talk for hours, so I'll save it.
No, I'm thinking, what else could Krista and I do?
I know. We could just have
it's like we have nothing else to do. Let's do a show together.
Yes, exactly.
So Rebecca loves 90-day flashback. So fast track. So Max, I also appreciate, Karen, how you're reminding me that I am a person that people would be willing to travel and spend. Max, I can't even believe you're saying that. I mean, I do believe you're saying this, but I am telling you, sometimes I do get sidetracked because I have experience in several different areas: podcast guest interviews, network building and community building, overcoming life's diversities, etc. Max, honestly, you do, because first of all, everybody knows you. You are so giving and so loving at conferences, right? You go out of your way, like, to show up at a conference. Like, I'm lucky I have the energy to get in my car and drive to the conference. You're flying and, doing all this crazy stuff to be able to get there. And then when you're there, you're supportive of everyone. People know you're very good at what you do. But you've got to show up and claim that. And you know what? What's the worst thing that happens? If you throw out the number $10,000 and people say no, oh, well, right? Like, oh, well, it's $1,000 plus expenses. No.
I wasn't sure what that was in reference to.
I don't really know what it's in reference to either, but I'm saying no, regardless of what it's in reference to.
Okay. And it's also, how do you, like, so much of what, and I know, Karen, we've talked about this too. We should really need to create our own show, because we would have so much fun.
I'm doing that too. That's what I'm just in my head thinking, what could Krista and I do?
Yeah, because
Carrie, by the way, is a mindset coach in our program. So she's she's loving what I'm saying. Like, yeah, no, charge more.
Yes.
She's the one that helps people feel worthy of that charge and being able to say those numbers. And by the way, I often have to reach out to Carrie and go, can you poke me a little bit? Because this doesn't matter. There's wobbles at every single level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what I do, and whenever I am looking for advice or trying to get guidance, which many times I am, because I'm like, what the heck? I don't know exactly what to do, or should I do the thing or not, is I really believe in the power. And when I talk about my future, I'm like, it's always with my right hand, but it's really that energy of our future self. So thinking about Karen 2026, for example, what does your business look like in 5 years? How are you showing up differently? And then when you connect to that energy and really visualize that success that Karen has in 5 years, and you think about what would she guide you on today, you know the answer within seconds. And you're like, okay, so I do the $10,000 VIP day. It scares me. Okay, how do I show up differently? What does the VIP day include? And then it's like, oh, okay, what's the transformation this person's getting out of it? What do my marketing materials look like? And all of a sudden the questions, show up that we get to find an answer to. And
the transformations are gigantic, you guys. They're gigantic. I wouldn't have believed it until I started doing it. They're gigantic.
Yeah. It's fun for both parties too, because they get their plan in record time. You get to help them map it out. It's a huge win for everybody, and fast momentum's created too.
Yeah. So Rebecca's asking, do you get the room in advance? So here's my process, Rebecca. The first thing I do, and honestly, part of the sales, part of the, enrolling the client in this is saying, all right, let's look at our calendars. And then we look at our calendars and we pick the date and I say the hardest part about all of this is finding a full day that we're both free. So we look at our calendars, we pick the date. I put the date on my calendar. I send them a calendar invite. I then do a half hour before that, at least, if not more. Sometimes we also include writing LinkedIn profiles. So that there's some other admin stuff associated with all of that. But then once I have the date, it's always easy to find a place. Like I said, Regis they have buildings all over the place. So there's always a Regis somewhere, but there's you can probably rent a conference room at WeWorks. I used a hotel in Manhattan one time. Wasn't great. It wasn't great. It was because Regis is a fortune in Manhattan. And I was just like, this is half the price. I'm going to do this. And it was a really nice hotel. But what I love about Regis is you have a conference room. You've got phones, you've got Wi-Fi, you've got desks. I don't know. I mean, when I said I used a hotel, I used a conference room at a hotel. I've also used hotel suites, but the challenge with a hotel suite is you need a couple nights to get the full day. You know?
Yeah.
Krista? How do you?
Yeah, that's how I've done it too. I've just done a local office space, like the co-working spaces. A lot of times I'll have a small office room you can reserve or whatever. And that's what I found to be best. And, I see Rebecca's question too about how many people. To me, when I think about a VIP day, I think about it being, one or a small group. Yeah. Really, one is where the magic is because you create fast momentum. You only need one yes. Mm-hmm. And you get to focus only on what that person needs versus kind of marrying 3 different people or 5. And so to me, the energy of a VIP day in my world is like, I get focused one-on-one.
One person. That's all I would really want. I did I've done teams, where they're part of the same business, but I wouldn't do for me, a VIP service. Like if it's a group, it's a workshop, and it could be a higher level workshop, but to me, a VIP day is one-on-one.
Yes.
Personalized attention to, because I'm doing a lot of research, you guys. This is not like one day. I'm researching them. I'm researching their industry. I'm doing some work before we show up. You get some, pre-work stuff. So
yeah. It's and we've talked a lot about the VIP days, and that's really what really even thinking about. We were talking about the new school and old school marketing too. And the old school is you do this is me being serious, and old school is like when you have a 6-month program, you have one call every other week for 45 minutes, and it's like so just old school. Or it's saying, guess what, I do a VIP day, or I offer this 6-month program. And we have one of the things we have with our clients is we have office hours each week with their coach that they can jump on a call, or copy and content review where they get feedback on what they're working on, which is outside the normal of quote business coaching, but is what our clients need. Right. And it's also, that's really that energy of innovating and saying, how can I help my clients go better? How can I stand out? How can I be in that category of one? Versus doing that old school, which also makes us feel like, well, I can only charge $2,000 because it's old school. But when you're innovating and looking for the gap, people are willing to pay more because you help them go faster.
So Rebecca's interesting question, because I'm going to give you an interesting answer. Do you publicly advertise and screen for one-on-one VIP days, or do you approach people one-on-one privately? Neither. I actually think, because I truly 100% prefer VIP days in person. I've done them virtually. You could do 2 half days. I won't do a whole day via Zoom because that's just, to me, I can't do it. So I do 2 half days, but I truly love them in person. As we're talking, I might send an email out tomorrow and offer VIP days because I haven't done one in a year, right? A year and a half. Like, that's how I do it, Rebecca. You might get an email from me tomorrow that says, hey, I've been thinking. It's been a year. I haven't been able to, because I love doing them. One of my favorite things to do is a VIP day. If, like me, you're anxious to kind of get back and do things in person, let's sit down at a table and bang out some business for you. Yeah. I don't know what the email is going to say, but that's actually what I'm thinking about doing based on this conversation. Because I love it, because I love doing it. And I haven't done it in so long. And all I do right now is my program. I don't have anything else. Like, we don't have a whole suite of services, because it just, like you said, Krista said, you're competing with yourself, right? So all we do is our program. We throw everything we have into our program. I do have some private clients that I work with for a couple of months, but honestly, I love VIP days. Yeah. And I think that's how I do it. How do you do it, Krista?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same too. When I feel like, okay, I want to offer them, then I do it. And I'll, decide, but I always do have a call with someone I'm going to spend an entire day with. I want to make sure that we're compatible energy-wise and all that good stuff too. Or sometimes if I'm on a call, I've even done this before, where I'm not actively promoting it, but somebody, I just feel like they're a right fit based on our conversation. And if I feel like, okay, this could be fun, then I can offer it in that moment as kind of a downsell option or a faster option, if that's really what it is.
Yeah, Rebecca, that's what I'm going to do tomorrow, I think. I mean, that's unless I change my mind, but it kind of popped into my head as we were doing this call. So that's what I would do. I would say, and I will say something in it. This is not for everyone. Let's have a call to see if it's a good fit. No obligation, because it isn't for everyone. And sometimes I'll say to somebody, okay, do these 5 things, and then let's talk in a couple months. Or maybe I'll even send them a couple of podcast episodes to listen to, and then say, reach back out. I don't advertise it at all, Rebecca. I mean, everything I do in my business is done through a strategy call. So those strategy calls, sometimes there's an opportunity to offer the VIP day. There's no links on my website that you can click and buy anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the same, that it's all through a conversation, or at least getting to know each other, just to make sure. I want to make sure it's the right fit for them, so they are going to get results, and also that we're a fit, because there's not everybody's match to go together. I don't feel like either.
Yeah, I think so too. And we have so Sherry Simpson, who is our enrollment coach in our program. She's hopefully she's not listening to this because she's like, "What are we doing now?" But she has the discretion, or will have the discretion, to be able to say to somebody that she doesn't think is a good fit for the program, maybe this might be a better option for you, and just do that. But everything gets done. Like, we have our free I have my podcast, which funnels to my free masterclass. And then I have the free masterclass, which just says, would you like to book a call and learn how to learn more about this? So that's really how all of the marketing in our business is. So we do the social media and all that stuff goes to the podcast and the masterclass, not directly to the products.
Yeah. We're the same too. And that's, I know we started out talking really about that authority marketing too, but that's also a positioning tool, that it's not just everybody gets in. It's like, either I have 10 spots in my group coaching program, or, the application to have conversation is here. So it's even positioning in that way that, like, I've seen many people's websites where it has the link directly to their calendar. And I'm like, no, people should, in my opinion, people shouldn't just be able to get on your calendar. They, like, to get on my calendar, they have to fill out a form to have a conversation. Right. And then we look at it and see, is it a match? I saw, and that was because one time we had a person submit and say, I want you to help me go through a divorce. And I said, I'm not a divorce coach. Right. That is not my expertise. And it was just that colossal waste of time and energy for them and us.
Right.
We said, so thinking about, not that we want to make it hard for people to reach you, but you don't want to seem so available. Right. That it's like, I'll say, if I can find someone's phone number on their website, that they are too easily accessible. And I know that sounds crazy, but and I don't know.
My phone number's probably on the web. My 800 number's probably on the website.
Well, and that's what I would say. If it's your company number, that's different. But if it's like your cell phone, because I know a lot of people do that, or your Calendly link, that's just shows that it's not a position.
So my little authority thing is, I have a telephone number that is a business number, and it rings to my cell phone, but it's not my cell phone, and it rings, and I can turn it off at certain times of the day and night. And I do have it on my business card, but the back of my business card is empty. Because what I love to be able to do is say, don't use that number. Here, let me give you my private cell phone number, right? Because that's authority, right? Like, you're special, right? So these are the tiny little things. So Krista, we've already been talking for almost an hour.
I know.
We did this because I wanted to hear about your event. So I'm going to tell you this, like, if anybody that knows me, I'm going to tell you that if it wasn't for Krista, there's so many things in my business that wouldn't be here right now. I do everything Krista tells me to do. And one of the things I'm going to say is, Krista's got this event coming up. It's crazy, crazy, crazy affordable. And it's virtual, and everybody that's watching this needs to go. So Krista, tell us about the event, and then.
Thank you. No, and I appreciate that. And hopefully you'll be able to maybe join us for part of the event too.
Absolutely. I mean, I watch everything you do.
Well, you're so nice to chat, and I want you to know the love goes right back at you too. I don't know how many texts I've sent you, and I'm like, help me about this. Specifically, but we're hosting Six Figure Impact Live. It's June 23rd through 25th. And you can see all the information on sixfigureimpactlive.com. But essentially what we are teaching, and I love that. That is so fun, by the way. What we're teaching is how to leverage authority marketing. We're going to go through the entire model. You're going to walk away with your exact plan to leap from 5 figures to multiple 6 figures in your coaching business. And the cool thing is that we talk about not only bringing in the more income, but it's really what that income allows you to create and the impact on the world. And I know we've talked about, I call it your 6-figure impact, but essentially what a successful business allows you to do and to impact not only within your house, and keeping everybody taken care of there, but also the community and sometimes even the world. And so it's a really cool, we posted it live before. Well, and this is still live, it's just virtual, but we have everybody, when they get clear on their 6-figure impact, put a sticky note on the wall. And it is just amazing to see like what's possible when everybody's activated and has a thriving business. And one of the things I want to offer just for anybody that's watching this today is we will do, I'll say, a throwback in that it's back to the early bird investment level. If you go to sixfigureimpactlive.com and at the checkout, use code SUCCESS, all caps, it'll bring the investment level down for 3 days to $97. And that's, a no-brainer investment in my mind.
So what do they get? So they get 3 days of training.
Yes, 3 days of training. We're going to have bonus sessions. It's one-on-one. We're going to have lots of open Q&A. We have a coaching zone where our coaches on the team are going to be available. They're going to walk away with their individual plan for what kind of programs, what kind of pricing, how to position themselves as an authority.
$97. All the things we said we can do with you in a VIP day, Chris is going to do for you for $97.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I'm so excited. Like, I've been retweaking the workbook and what we're covering, and it's going to be completely game changer content. I cannot wait to deliver. It's exactly what I wish someone gave me when you and I were struggling, or not struggling, but we were figuring it out, and we needed a roadmap to leave our corporate role.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, so many people buy $97 programs. I mean, I can't even, I routinely spend $97 laying in bed, like before I get out of bed, I'm looking at things, right? But what this is content, but also, I mean, you're going to be like brainstorming with people, right? Like, they're going to actually get an opportunity to interact with your coaches and help develop their packages, right?
Yes.
It's going to be watch this and do this. It's like, we're going to do this together.
Yes. And I think it's going to be a 60-page like workbook where everybody's going to do the work together, and we're going to be breaking out. It's going to be so interactive. There's going to be tons of support. So if you show up and do the work, you're going to have, I'll say, soup to nuts figured out, with the positioning, with how you're creating a movement, how you really innovate in your market, the pricing, the structure, how to create and activate an audience. Oh, that was one thing too. And I wanted to share this real quick, is with new school and old school marketing. Is old school marketing used to be like, just inundate them, educate the, what out of them. And now it's really looking at, yes, we deliver value and we educate, but we also are responsible to activate them. So we're going to be talking about how to activate your audience instead of just educating them to death. And so I'm very excited.
Yes, absolutely. I love that you're saying that. I love that you're saying that. I have a gig worth of training in my hard drive, probably most of which I haven't even watched, frankly, and it wasn't until, I mean, it is huge. Krista, that's amazing. Are there any, so they'll get the workbook, are there any replays, or is that just?
We're not doing replays. It's all live, and we're trying it this time without doing recording, simply because we want to test that, just like all in our business. Everything's an experiment, but we also want the people to show up and be all in, and not pick and choose, because then they don't get the best outcomes that are possible for us.
So true. Yeah,
I've bought recordings of 3-day events, many, and they're all still on my computer. So
I know, me too. And then I'll go to an event, like a virtual event, and I'm like, no, I want them with the replays, because I know I won't get to any. I don't watch any of them.
No, I don't. I always, best of intentions, but yet, we don't have the time.
Here's what I will say. Here's what I'll leave this with. So I'm currently in a coaching program, and this particular coaching program has a couple different levels of people, of success levels, right? So I'm not all the way at the top yet. I'm going to be there soon.
Yeah.
But I watch what they do. And the people that are in that highest level show up, are on every call with their camera on.
Yes.
So I am on every call with my camera on, because it makes me pay attention. It makes me activate. It makes me do it. And honestly, like, that's why I didn't join. Like, I could watch the replays. I could turn my camera off and multitask, and I would say more than half the people have their camera off, right? But the people that are having 6-figure months have their camera on and are engaged. So that's what I do. So that's why I love that you're doing that, Krista. I love that you're not giving people the option to slack.
That's how we looked at it. We thought, we're holding everybody to their best selves. Clear your calendar, do what you have to do. And we're going to give the elevator pitch at the beginning too, of, hey, keep your camera on, just like you said. Be all in. Your business is worth it. Your clients are worth it. Your success is worth it. And if you show up half-assed to a training or an event, guess what? You're going to get the same kind of results in your business.
Right. Awesome. So I will make sure that, the link is scrolling, but I'll make sure the link, Krista, you can put a link in there too.
Okay.
This is going to be the best $97 you spent. Max, in addition to thinking that you need to do this, I would also connect with Carrie if I were you. Carrie's in here too. Carrie's our mindset coach, because as you talk about, I'm working on how I see myself. Carrie has a lot of great resources for you. So check out Carrie, who's in this chat here somewhere on LinkedIn. Are they both on LinkedIn? No, Carrie's on Facebook. All right, Max, I will give you Carrie's link on LinkedIn, because, although I don't even know if she's on LinkedIn. Carrie, if you're still listening, connect with Max. But in any case, it was Krista. This has been so much fun. I don't know why we don't do this more often.
You need to.
You've had a busy couple of weeks. When you said, I think the workbook's going to be 60 pages, I know what that means. Like, it's like, okay, that means it's not done yet. Right.
Oh, you know me very well. It's like I keep tweaking. You know, I'm like, oh, that could be a little better. Or and there is a VIP option too. Yes, ticket for the
So
event.
if you use if you use the code success, you get $97 for the program. What's the VIP?
You know what I'll do? We'll have the VIP go to $97 too. If you so if you check out, actually what I'll do, here's what I'll do. I'm making this up on the spot. So I'll tell the team they'll love this too. When you check out, put success in the code, buy the regular ticket, and I will upgrade you and put and buy the regular ticket and either put Karen's name because it'll say who referred you, and then I'll upgrade you to VIP and you get all the bonus sessions and all that good stuff too. So go to the website, check out with code success. This is 101 what not to do. Don't make it complicated, but go use code success, brings it down to $97, and then put Karen as the referral when on that page, and we'll upgrade you immediately to VIP. So you get all that for $97.
That's awesome. What do they get extra for VIP? And Krista and Rebecca is Martin.
Oh, yes. Yes. Sorry. I should have put that on here too.
I don't know why our names aren't on here. That's probably some setting that I have wrong.
No, it's always blame the computer. Never take personal blame for it. It's always the computer. The VIP, and I can't remember all the exact things, but we have a VIP lunch where we do hot seats. You get to submit your business questions, and I'll be, it's going to be a smaller group, so we'll be doing focused one-on-one feedback. We also have a money mindset session pre-event, and we have several other bonuses throughout that I can't remember off the top of my head because it's 4:03 on Friday, and my brain is winding down. But you can see all of it on the website. And
workbook to finish.
Yeah, you have to quit tweaking it. And I'm like, but it could be better. It could be.
It's like Christmas. Like, just come so I stop buying presents, please.
Yes, right? Yes, absolutely. I need the event so I can't tweak anymore or the slides. But that's just kind of
Rebecca. That's absolutely right, Krista Martin.
Yes, yes. Thank you for, and if you go to, my website is makeyourmark.com, but really everything you want to find out about the event is Six Figure Impact Live, all spelled out, include not the number 6, but SIX.
I know you have a LinkedIn event for it somewhere because I know I'm.
Yes.
So there's a LinkedIn event somewhere too. I'm assuming if you connect with Krista on LinkedIn, you'll be able to get all that info there too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So if you're like Krista,
but the code is just for us, you guys. So don't share the code with her public because
we're awesome being in Karen's in her domain of awesomeness.
Thank you so much for doing that, Krista. I appreciate it. And it's already been and I thought this was going to be a half hour.
I know, I did too.
And we could probably keep going. Hopefully you guys are connected to Krista. You're going to join her event. She's amazing. And email us. Maybe I get an email from me tomorrow about VIP days.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, people will.
Oh my gosh, my 4 o'clock meeting is like, where are you, Karen?
Okay, I was gonna say I've been voxing with the team. I was like, I'll be 10 more minutes. So I'm like,
right. I'll see you, Krista. So fun. Thanks so much for doing this. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Hold on.